Testimony has resumed in the Oscar Pistorius murder trial in South Africa after the prosecution and defense accepted an expert panel's findings that he was not suffering from a mental defect or mental illness on the night he shot and killed Reeva Steenkamp. This is the former Olympian arriving at the courthouse just a short time ago. His trial was halted for more than a month while he underwent a court-ordered psychiatric evaluation. Has been on hold since. Well, as we know, as he's saying that it has resumed. They are on recess as we speak. Throughout it all, Pistorius has maintained he did not know it was Reeva Steenkamp he was shooting at. Here's what he told the court when he testified back in April.
It was an accident what happened. I agree with that.
Well, let's take you live now to CNN legal analyst Kelly Phelps. She's live outside the courthouse for us in Pretoria. Kelly, so the findings of this expert panel is that he was not mentally ill, did not suffer from sort of mental disorder at the time of this shooting. So what does this then mean for the defense?
Well, essentially it will downgrade part of Meryl Foster's evidence. So the aspect of her evidence that diagnosed him.
All right, Kelly, thank you for that. Kelly, we've been told that we can now go back inside the courtroom now and continue listening into this testimony.
Thank you. Thank you. My lady, may I then seek an indulgence for the court and ask the court if it's possible for the court, like in the previous case, to come down.
So we have been listening now to testimony there in Pretoria courtroom in the Oscar Pistorius trial. These are some of the latest testimony is from the orthopedic surgeon for Oscar Pistorius, someone who has fitted Mr. Pistorius with his prosthetic legs. And now the judge in this case is looking at the photographs that have been presented as part of this case. Just earlier on today, when this resumption of this trial began, it began with the findings of this expert panel of this finding when it comes to Pistorius' mental health, and they said that he did not suffer from any sort of disorder, mental disorder, or mental disability at this time, especially when it comes to the time of the when this shooting took place. We will continue to keep our eye on the inside the courthouse and take you back there when we can. Now, as expected, the defense and prosecution have very different takes on what actually happened in the Pistorius household that Valentine's night. You can walk through their respective cases on our website. It's all at cnn.com/international. ISIS militants in Iraq have announced they are renaming themselves as the Islamic State and establishing a caliphate in their strongholds in Syria and Iraq. The militant group also released this video, which they say shows a group of Shia men they held captive in a building they later blew between the two sides intensify. The Iraqi military is on a recruitment mission to boost its number of troops. But as Nema Al-Baghi reports, many people say the new soldiers are not being properly trained before they're sent to the front line.
They're chanting, "We're coming for you."
Coming up here on CNN News Center, amid concerns about his health, Pope Francis is back to work. After the break, we'll take you live to Rome for an update on how the pontiff is doing. Live from Hong Kong, I'm Monita Rajpal. Here are some of the other stories we're following for you this hour. North Korea is proposing that both Koreas suspend all military provocation. Pyongyang says Seoul should cancel its annual drill with the U.S. this summer. The proposal came the same day that North Korean media showed leader Kim Jong-un presiding over a rocket-firing drill. State broadcaster KCNA also reported earlier that the government plans to prosecute 2 U.S. tourists for what it's calling crimes against the state. The Americans in question are this man, Jeffrey Fowle, and another, Matthew Miller. Nearly 800,000 residents of Hong Kong have voted in an unofficial poll to support bringing in democratic elections to choose the city's next leader. The Chinese government has called the vote illegal and its results invalid. The poll comes ahead of Tuesday's annual pro-democracy march held on the anniversary of the day Hong Kong was returned to Chinese rule. Russian President Vladimir Putin and the leaders of Germany and France want Ukraine to extend a unilateral ceasefire ceasefire, which is due to expire later today. Mr. Putin and Ukraine's president are said to have held a 2-hour teleconference Sunday with the European leaders and plan to hold another one today. At least 36 people are dead in Nigeria after gunmen on motorcycles stormed homes and Christian churches. The attack took place in several villages in the northeastern state of Borno. The attackers sprayed bullets, threw explosives, and set buildings on fire. It is believed to be the work of Boko Haram Islamists. Pope Francis is set to hold an audience with Spain's new king and queen in just a couple of hours. The 77-year-old presided over a 2-hour-long mass in St. Peter's Basilica on Sunday. It was his first public appearance since concerns with correspondent Delia Gallagher, who joins us now live from Rome. So, Delia, what more do we know about how the Pope's doing?
Monita, the good news is the Pope seems to be just fine.
Thank you very much for that. Delia Gallagher there, live for us from Rome. You are watching CNN News Center live from Hong Kong. Jubilation for the Netherlands, devastation for Mexico. After the Dutch come back from behind at the World Cup, we've got all the highlights straight ahead. Lots of action to tell you about at the World Cup in Brazil. There was some exciting and in some cases controversial finishes in Sunday's knockout matches. And we saw another squad with to try down in the penalty box. You are watching CNN News Center. I'm Monita Rajpal at CNN Hong Kong. Thank you for joining us. I'll update you the news headlines in just a few minutes.